Hey, what is up, everyone? It is Rich. Okay, this is going to be really fun and really weird. We are going to take a look back at Grifter, number one, with inks by me. This is from 1996. I wasn't even born then. This is crazy. So there's a series of things that have been going on that have made me curious about revisiting this stuff. I did a quite long sort of inspirational video yesterday for Patreon, and look, I give lessons and reviews to a lot of people, and I'm helping almost 300 people on Patreon. So I would actually recommend, if you haven't checked out my Patreon, it's amazing. It's $1 for full access. There's literally like 700 to 800 videos up over there covering all kinds of art education. You just search by hashtags, you'll be overwhelmed by the quantity. You'll never get through it all, to be honest. And then I do give lessons and reviews, but that's not the point of the video. But as I've been working on Crystal Planet number one, I happened to see a post on, there's a private Wildstorm group. I mentioned it in the Patreon video, but it's like for people that worked at Wildstorm on Facebook. And so one of the artists that was there had said, like, hey, what was something that you learned at Wildstorm? And a lot of people were kind of reflecting back to what I would assume would be early in their careers. And the amount of lumps that you take working in comics, it's a very, very challenging medium of art to work in, and you're constantly pushed and pulled like a multitude of different directions. But anyway, and I've actually been selling a ton of art. So if you don't follow me on Facebook, or if you're not on Comic Art Fans, I would definitely pursue that if you're interested in buying any art, because as I go through the archives, I'm just pulling out stuff and getting rid of it. Yeah, but someone brought up Mel Ruby, and I was like, it would be really, really interesting to go back and look at this comic. I literally have not seen this book in probably 20 years. It's been that long. So I'm going to try to keep these videos about 10 to 15 minutes, but I'm going to do a lot of comic books that I inked from the first. Well, who knows? We'll see how it goes. But I think I'm going to do this as a series, maybe for the next couple of months. I think it'll be really, really fun. So anyway, I had just finished inking Cybernary over an artist named Jeff Rebner, who was actually good friends with Nick Manabat. They don't draw anything alike, though. And so people that were huge fans of Nick Manabat might not have liked Jeff's stuff. It was a little more whimsical, well, a lot more whimsical and cartoony, and just didn't have the darkness of Manabat. But anyway, so after that, I went into this book. So Mel Ruby at the time had a lot of what I would consider McFarlane in his work. And, it was kind of like a cross between like McFarlane and Jim Lee. Neither style would be on paper anything that I was good at. So this was not like a style that I would be good at. At that point back then, I think I could have inked someone like Michael Lopez or Travis well, or maybe J. Scott Campbell, or something like Adam Hughes with like slick brushy lines. But I never really embraced the Image look. It sounds weird working at Image. I mean, it was the first thing when I met with Image the first time before I was hired. It was the first thing that they told me, is they said, your style isn't really what we do. And so I went and worked on my stuff for a few months, and then came back and was able to do things more akin to what they were publishing. But once I got in at Wildstorm, really within about 3 to 4 months, I immediately started going back to what I was good at, which again was probably more aligned with what Travis was up to. I had drawn with rapidographs my whole life, and I was real good with a brush. So anything tight and slick was really my forte. But anyway, so the only reason I bring all this up is that initially I don't think Mel was like super happy with the inks that I was doing, and rightfully so. I mean, he would have probably been more suited for someone like a Danny Mickey or something like that. But I did the best that I could, and there's no shame in my game. What can you do? You're assigned a job, and you just try to do the best you can. But yeah, so let's check this out. This is the cover. This was the second Grifter series, so if you're a Wildstorm fanatic, you know that already. Ryan Benjamin did the first series. with Tom McWeeny, and I actually remember when I got hired there that they were working on it, and boy, Tom and Ryan together were incredible. They really, really did some beautiful work. So, all right, let's get into this. This is going to be exciting. The only even preview that I got of this was just opening the files. So this is going to be super trippy for me. We're going to go in order. So let me grab page 1 for you, which will be this file. So this is how it starts. God, I remember this page and this guy's face, but you can definitely see that McFarlane. I don't know how big Capullo was at this point. I'm thinking that Capullo actually had done issues of Spawn by now. But Mel was good, man. I mean, I really look, and here's the thing: is most of you know, I am a huge McFarlane fan. I just never was really good at that style. We talked about this in other videos, at least on Patreon. But it's like, you know, sometimes you love something and it's just not the way that you draw, and you can either really try to force yourself to get good at it, you know, like bring it in your work, or not. I mean, when you take a job or you're given a job, you don't have a choice. So I talked about in the Patreon video yesterday how dissatisfied I would be a lot of the times with the quality of work that I was producing, because I was getting pushed and pulled in a million different ways. This is a beautiful, beautiful panel. The whole page is nice. I mean, Mel, like, I'm looking at this right now. Mel draws really, really good, and he really can move the camera around. He seems comfortable drawing characters at just about any angle. I mean, this is legit good art. He's really kicking ass. I mean, this is awesome. I don't draw this good right now, to be honest. Let's see. So, there's page 3. This I didn't remember. As funny is I don't. So his name is Odyssey. He's the Odyssey. I don't remember this page. I know that we did another shot like this. He was great at these too. Look at this guy getting chucked out of the. I'm assuming this is a bus driver. Yeah. Yeah, we did another shot like this that you'll see later in the book that I remember more. But yeah, this page doesn't really ring a bell. That kind of does. It's funny. But yeah, you know, you end up doing... So at this point in my career, I was doing a monthly book. I think back then, I want to say the image books were 24 pages long. They were definitely at least 22. So that would be... I was probably doing about 250 pages of inks a year for the first 2.5 years that I worked at Wildstorm. I really was put through my paces. Yeah, I would say 2.5 years. I was working doing that kind of workload. Let's see. All right, what do we got here? Oh yeah, I remember this page. Sometimes Mel's faces got a little warbly, but I think it worked within his style. And I always thought that this gloved arm looked a little truncated. Like, it didn't feel like there was exactly enough room for the glove. And in fact, it's kind of long. Like the this little section right here is a little weird, but anyway, it's not a big deal. But just but the anatomy is really, really cool. Like, all the muscles and stuff like that are really, really nicely done. I remember having to ink all the arm hair and stuff like that, and it was not... I was better at arm hair than I was at facial stubble. It's interesting, and I'm trying to put a little bit of texture on this sand, I guess, inside of it. But yeah, I mean, look at my rendering lines are a little unsure here and there. This isn't too bad. But yeah, arm hair and facial hair, it's like its own little challenge that you have to kind of decide how you're going to do it. And then it's funny to think back on those little challenges along the way that you had to sort of take on and learn. Right, what do we got here? We want page 5. Look, Grifter, you're a wrecking machine. The towel, I got very, very textury on the towel. I was surprised that this was Alex Sinclair colors. To be 100,000% honest, I did not know Alex at this point. In fact, I think he was working outside of Wildstorm. I don't think he was in the studio at that point. But yeah, I don't know if I'd ever even met him. It's funny, because we're good friends now. But yeah. I wouldn't have been able to guess who colored this, and I in particular had no idea it was Alex, so that was trippy to see. Um, this is cool, you know. Mel had definitely done his homework, though, you know. It's maybe not as glamorous as some of the image founders and the superstars that were going on at that time, but he was definitely able to draw well. I kind of consider myself the third wave of Wildstorm, maybe second, like the end of the second, but um, yeah, kind of the third. I mean, I think like the to me the original Wildstorm would be, you know, J. Scott Campbell, Brett Booth, Alex Garner, and then there was people like Tom McWeeny and Ryan Benjamin. I think who kind of is like in between there. Tom Ranny and stuff like that, and all those people were there before I got there. So I was the beginning of the third wave, the end of the second wave, beginning of the third wave of talent that they brought in, and we went through the meat grinder. My generation, the casualty rate of artists was quite high. A lot of people didn't make it through unscathed. We'll say it was just sales were dropping, deadlines were getting tighter, we were really under the gun to produce, and we weren't going to sort of be able to spend, you know, 4 to 7 months on a single comic. We need to get it in and get it out. And you know, I look at it as a positive thing. What I had said to someone that I replied to this morning was, you know, what that did to me in particular was I wanted to be great like all the people that I admired, but I didn't have the time, so I had to become more disciplined. And ultimately, I did get what I would consider pretty good as an inker, and I was able to produce on a schedule. So in a way, it actually did make me better because I wasn't able to goof around. It was like I was never going to be satisfied being just an average inker, but I also wasn't going to ever be given the amount of time that some of the people before me were to actually produce that level of quality. So you don't really have a lot of options at that point. This is nice. Yeah, generally speaking, I would do a page a day. As far as I remember with this stuff, I would do a page a day. Somewhere along the way, I did end up getting an ink assistant that would fill in blacks for me, but I don't remember at this point if I was using that. But it was just a couple of the artists that I inked, it was so time consuming filling in their blacks. I mean, if you could save 2 hours a day not going in and like coloring in little black areas, it definitely helped. This is nice. He does a good grifter too. Like that's a nice drawing, you know. Very, very dynamic pose. I kind of sort of remember this. It'll be interesting. Tomorrow I'd like to go through issue 2. We'll just look at issue 1 today, and we'll go through it and have a little fun. I think in issue 3 Team 7 shows up, so that might be kind of fun. But yeah, we'll pick and poke around through my early career for a little bit. See what the what is. I'm generally not very nostalgic about this stuff, to be 100% honest. It's nothing that I really think about. I used to own this original. I sold it a long time ago, but yeah, I definitely had this around for a while. His laces on his boots are pretty funny. But yeah, you know, all the conversations that kind of have been going on the last few days, that actually did make me sort of curious to go back and look at it. I think what it is too is like my penciling career is finally rolling. I've got one book that's going to be out anytime. I'm working away on the second issue of Crystal Planet. I'm just going to knock out the whole series. I think I can have it done in 4 to 5 months, and I'm just going to get it out of my hair and then get back on Blaster Kid. Because it's just I don't want to be dealing with deadlines on something else outside. So it ultimately ended up being the best thing. I think I've got a really good what do you call it, like work methodology in place. So, but yeah, I mean, thinking back on this time, I mean, it's like it as painful as it was doing like a page every day, and as painful as it was not being satisfied sometimes with the quality of the art that I produced, that annoyance of it made me get better. You know, it was like, you know, you'd look at a page and just go, man, fuck, I wish that was better, you know. Just didn't have the time to do it, but you figured out, I always love this is really nice. But yeah, that annoyance drives you, if you have the right personality combination, to improve, you know. People ask me about, like, they'll go, like, what can I do to avoid smearing? You know what I did to avoid smearing when I first started inking? It bugged the shit out of me. I freaking hated when I would have a smear, and within a month or two, I never smeared again. Very, very rarely do I ever make a mistake when I'm inking a piece. In terms of like a smear, it just doesn't happen because I can't stand it. I hate using whiteout on pieces. Now I'll overthrow lines though on purpose, where I used to not do that, but I'll let that go. Like if I had to do speed lines through something, I'll draw through and then white out the areas that need to be cleaned up because you get a better quality line. So that was one concession that I made in the last few years. This is great too. He really was doing some exciting poses too. Man, that's hard shit to draw. It works good though. He gives Grifter a nice beefy chest too. I like it. I like it a lot. Really good forms. This is nice. Indicating like planes. Smells good, man. He went on to do some different styles too. The last stuff I saw of his, I think he was doing some Star Wars stuff. It might have been a while ago, but yeah, it didn't really look like the same style. Yeah, so this comic book is almost 30 pages. I don't know how many pages of interior art it was, but oh, I remember this. I actually still have this original. I do actually have this original. Or wait, is it this one? I wonder if it's this page. I would keep this though. I kind of told myself I was going to keep one page from each job that I worked on. I think this is it. Maybe not. Maybe I sold this one. It's similar to this, though. This is so good, though. I love this little sequence. He runs, tosses his guns, slides underneath their feet, catches his guns, and then just blows the shit out of them. Like, that's really, really a good little piece. Really, really nice. Still want to go in order if I can. We might have... Oh, okay, we went a little bit out of order. Sorry. The bus. I remember this, too. Nice hand. For a split second, I thought he had 6 fingers. I was like, wait, 3? And then how many over here? Oh, 2. Okay, phew. This is good. Yeah, Mel was on fire. I don't know how much work Mel had done before this. This was all inks. I did this with, like, not stipple, but sort of like yeah, if you could see this in black and white, this was all like little fancy detail. The inks aren't bad on this. I don't think that I think almost like it's like I needed to go a little thinner at times. You see how thick these lines are? Like a little bit more sort of noodling. So who knows? Maybe one day I will actually learn a McFarlane style. All right, I want to make sure. Oh yeah, wood. This kind of stuff was hard to ink, honestly, at first too. You wouldn't think that it would be, but like things like broken glass and wood, when they would do like a whole bunch of it like this, was tough. I want to say that Mel may have spent more than a month on this book. I kind of vaguely remember they had been working on the comic for a little while. It'll be interesting as we get into the series more. Because it's you know, there's the joke with like bands where you go, you have your whole life to write your first album and then a year to write your second. It's kind of like that in comics. It's like you might have a few months to draw your first issue of a book, but once the series gets rolling, a lot of times all that free time is gone. So, but yeah, stuff like broken glass and wood and stuff like that can be pretty tricky if you don't know how to do it. This is a nice little panel sequence. Kind of like the breathing room in it. Really good poses, man. He's good. Really, really good. This stuff is so comic booky, so image and action oriented. Not just the content, but the way that Mel draws it is actually very, very cool. This is good shit. Dun dun dun. I had this page for a long time too, I think, but I sold it years ago, but it's pretty cool. An army, huh? How well trained. Tech tunnel. Nods of tech tunnels, or I don't know, this might be like some sort of room. It's Gives me little tech tunnel vibes. This guy's like, good enough to kill you. Yeah. Is Grifter gonna shoot him? What are you gonna do, Grifter? Are you gonna take that lip from this dude? Wait. What happened? I don't know. Flashback. This is out of order a little bit. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, that ain't Grifter. That's their dude. There's Grifter. This is nice. Oh. Hold on. Hello? Okay, I'll come out. Okay, thank you. Okay, bye. Sorry, that was DHL. They're coming to pick up a package. A guy bought a piece of art. In fact, it was a Carlos D'Anda Majestic page with the Alan Moore script. It's actually going to France, so it's good. We're wrapping this up anyway, so I've got 10 minutes, but I'm gonna need to get going here in a sec. But yeah, follow me on Facebook if you don't. And if not, comic art fans, and I'll be posting a little bit of it on Twitter. I remember this, the kids, or is it kids? One was like there was one, oh, that might have been in Wildcats. Oh, here we go. Look at this. Yeah, there was kids. They're like sort of like, you know, evil. I think they're part of like a bad group. Maybe not. Maybe they're kidnapped. I haven't read it. I don't have time to read it. Pretty cool. This is nice. This would be hard to draw. Mel's good, man. Mel is good. All right, what do we got? It's like, oh yeah, he draws pretty decent kids. They're not like super creepy, but just creepy enough. She's cute. Like, I like her. This kid looks cool. He's got his little image ball cap on. Her sad is really nice. That's a nice hand too. Damn, Mel. I don't even know how old Mel. Oh, this might be the page that I have. Actually, I think this is it. Salmon Twitch is on it. This is the last original that I own from this. I had hung on to it for so long because of Salmon Twitch, but this is it. Yeah, this is the one I have. I don't know. If someone wants to buy this page, let me know. I can come up with a number for you, but I maybe would sell it. I don't really need to keep this. If it was a more action page, I might go for it. But anyway, sorry, I should get going as we wrap up this comic, and hopefully that was fun. Yeah, we'll look at issue 2 tomorrow. I'm curious to check out more of Mel's stuff, and let's take a little trip down Wildstorm memory lane. The memory lane. We've got the letters column if you want to read it. And then, yeah, here's the credits. Oh, Mike Rockwitz. I remember him. Rochelle Brizendine. That's Travis's wife now. Cover by Mel Ruby and Richard Friend. That was back before pencilers wouldn't let you ink covers. And look at that. That's a cool cover. This guy was crazy. He could kill you with his finger. He'd point at you and go, kick-a-pow. No, I don't think he said that. Something like that. All right, get excited for tomorrow. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day. I love you all. Check out Patreon, and boom, let's do this. Bye.